Applying burns is decent. It's decent range damage, not as good as the rifle, but decent. It's not really a kill weapon so much as it is control. And Smoldering Arrow is just really good. I mean, you can AoE blind. That's awesome in PvP. It's just phenomenal. So yeah. Now, for runes, I'm running Runes of the Fighter. Pretty standard. There wasn't anything especially decent about it, but this build doesn't really warrant exceptional runes, so I didn't really go above and beyond with that because it kind of just needed something good, something solid. I take Sigil of Accuracy and Sigil of Force on my axes, and a Sigil of Superior Smoldering on my bow, of course, because I do burning damage. And the longer people burn, the better for me. Using a Berserker's Amulet, just to round that all out with the big deeps. For traits, I take 20 in Strength, 30 in Arms, and 20 in Discipline. In Strength, I take Short Temper and Axe Mastery. In Arms, I take Furious Reaction, Opportunist, and Last Chance. I take Last Chance almost every chance I can when I'm running a build that goes into Arms at least, just because, again, in a 1v1 scenario, which doesn't happen much in hotjoin, but it does happen sometimes, is incredibly powerful. So, I mean, quickness is the best stat in the game, so, best buff in the game, excuse me. So, I mean, if you get that, muy bueno. I take Furious Reaction because I don't like getting Heartseekered or Frenzy Grade Sorted. It doesn't really help me that much, but it gives you a little bit of a comeback, kind of that you got in your pocket, in case something extremely unfortunate happens to you in terms of burst. In Discipline, I take Warrior Spirit, of course, so I can run faster, and Sweet Revenge, because I always take Sweet Revenge, because 100% rally on kill is awesome! And your allies are likely to kill someone too if you go down in a team fight, so unless you guys all suck, in which case that's just too bad, I guess. So, let's get to it. So, of course, I start out with the dual-wield axes as my primary movement weapon. Obviously, it doesn't have much in the way of movement skills, but because of the trait for the movement speed bonus, that's why I keep them out. It's, some would argue, a negligible bonus. It's not that big, but I mean, it's something. Like, when I switch to my dual-wield axe as well, after running normally, I can tell the difference. So yeah, that's my logic behind that. Now, when capping points, if you're doing it by yourself or with a small group of people and you are expecting to be confronted by another singular person or small group of people, I use the longbow, because as you saw there, I saw the other warrior, the other warrior coming up from the hill, and I just pulled out my longbow, waited till I got in range of my pin down, and then I just pinned him down, and that gave enough time for my team to catch up to me, and he got completely bodied, and we got the point. So yeah, longbow is good for control. Not really what you'd think immediately, because usually be like, oh, longbow, big deeps in an AoE, right? And yes, but pin down is probably one of the better skills in the game, in my opinion, and you should use it in as many wonderful ways as you can find. Now, I find more and more nowadays in structured PvP that even though it's a lot more satisfying to stomp people, it's probably more effective to just continue to kill them while they're on the ground. This is due to a variety of interruption moves, and if you're not running stability or something similar, then you're probably going to just be wasting a whole bunch of time, and they might even just get back up. But as long as you're damaging them, they're not going to be able to get rezzed by themselves by using bandage or by, like, you know, an ally or anything like that. Rangers with their pets rezzing them. If you're dealing enough damage, it's just not going to happen. So it's not so much to do with this build, but just something I discovered more fully in this build that I've realized in the past and never really acted on. I could, of course, take in Balanced Stance and just give myself stability every time I went to stomp. That is also a viable option, so that you won't get interrupted. I did not do that for this build, but you could. Now, one thing to keep in mind about this build that I kind of found out the hard way is that it's very much a single person build, maybe two people build. You kind of want to do hit and run tactics. There's a few points in these clips during which I like wade into the enemy team, and I'm doing big numbers. Like, you see a lot of people getting hit, you see a lot of people taking a lot of damage, but I just promptly get my ass kicked and thrown 6 feet under, because you don't have that kind of durability with this build, or pretty much any axe build, really. because you're trading almost entirely into damage, be it flat power or flat crit. You don't have much left for tankiness, and that comes right. You can see here, I'm chasing these guys. I didn't see how many there were at first, and as I bulls charge, I notice how many there are. See, I'm getting nice hits, getting a full axe roll off on like 3 or 4 people there. But the problem is, it's 3 or 4 people. So even though I get my target down, it doesn't matter because there's all these other schmucks coming after me. And, you can only interrupt so many stomps unless you're, like, a Guardian and you have that dope bubble or I don't know. But we don't. We don't have that, warrior friends. We have no such multi-disrupt. All we have is our tiny hammer and our longer than normal debuffed cooldown on Vengeance that takes forever to get up, in my opinion. And yeah, so use it wisely. And generally, I don't expect much, even though I take the Sweet Revenge trait. That's mostly because I take the Sweet Revenge trait all the time in my warrior builds, just because I feel like it's too good to ignore, especially in one-on-one situations when you're evenly matched with someone. You don't really want to rely on your down skills as a warrior because you're not that tanky. So, and like I said, Vengeance takes forever to come up now. And hammer throw, not only can you like miss people, it can be line of sighted, it can be obviously stability will negate it entirely. I've had people's pets, people's minions, other people just stand in front of me so that I can't hammer the target that's stomping me, because if you've probably noticed, you can stomp from a range, which doesn't make much of any sense, but hey, it happens, and I don't know design, so I'm sure there's some semi-decent reason for that. But yeah, be careful or you'll die. Now, look at this. Look at this beautiful setup. Everyone's clustered together. I just landed my burst shot on my longbow. Just landed my explosive shot on my longbow. I think the longbow is just an awesome weapon. It definitely doesn't shine in PvP as much as I wish it would. PvE it's awesome, but PvP there's just, I mean, the rifle is a better weapon for killing people. I take the longbow because it's more appropriate for damaging multiple targets, kind of keeping people off points. The blind on 4 is really nice, and the combo might field from the burst into the explosive is also nice for the team. So it has its uses. It's not a bad weapon, and like I just said a few seconds ago, I really like it, but PvP kind of, no matter what you may think, PvP kind of limits you in a few different ways. And that's kind of the point of these videos, is to, explore those limitations. Sometimes I make a cool build that I didn't think would work, and it's awesome. And sometimes I make a build that seems pretty standard, and I get my ass kicked. And, that's how you learn. And I do it so that you folks don't have to, and you can spare yourselves the crippling shame and loss of honor that comes with losing miserably. But this build is actually not that bad. It's fun to play if you execute it correctly. Hitting lots of people with axes at the same time looks really cool and makes you feel like some sort of berserking badass. Frenzy I actually don't use very often because, as I said, if you're not in a 1v1 or maybe if you're playing well a 1v2 scenario, you're just going to instantly die even without Frenzy. The problem with hotjoin, which is of course what I use to show you guys build gameplay, is people tend to zerg a lot, and it's hard for me to accurately portray a build like this when there's just, I'm fighting 5 people at any given time. So you guys might want to try this on your own time, maybe in a tournament setting, or, when I'm not sure if the custom game thing is up yet or not, but, 1v1 your friends or something, if that is working. That's something I need to explore too. I'll probably do a video on that, because that's pretty sick. And, so yeah, just keep in mind, there are some builds I make that, though they come across kind of poorly in these videos, the concept is solid, and you're going to have to trust me on that one. It's difficult because the only medium I have to show these builds is hotjoin, and I'm fighting everyone and their mother in hotjoin. People are sending in their whole team at one point. It's just how it is. And so yeah. This build is good. Axes are good. You have to be a lot more intensive with how you manage yourself when you're using a non-durable warrior, a non-durable, non-rifle warrior. I don't know what this guy's plan was. This bird healed him, then he stood there and did nothing. Maybe he thought he was already dead, but, well, he gets the stomp anyways. And, yeah, so, you know, just be aware. Objects in mirror are maybe, you know, farther away. But, you guys should try this out for yourself. It's a pretty standard build. I wasn't really sure what to do. It's mostly just a in-your-face berserker build, dual axes. I really like dual axes. I don't use them much. I've actually kind of been avoiding them due to, like, very standard build popularity. Speaking of standard builds, Frenzy Greatsword, good to see it's still alive and well. All these pros coming down on me like they're huge kings, but it's not going to matter because I'm going to vengeance, like I always do. But yep, I hope you guys liked. Subscribe, tell your friends. If not, do neither of those things, and I'll see you next week. Peace.